This bridge is older than most countries on Earth, and it's still standing. Not patched together, not rebuilt from scratch. Still standing. In northern China, just outside modern-day Shijiazhuang, there's a stone bridge that has survived wars, dynasties collapsing, massive floods, and some serious earthquakes. It was built around the year 605 AD during the Sui Dynasty by a master engineer named Li Chun, and it's called the Zhaozhou Bridge. That means this thing has been around for more than 1,400 years. Just let that sink in. When this bridge was completed, Europe was in the early Middle Ages. The United States didn't exist. Most of today's countries didn't exist. And yet this bridge was already carrying traffic. So why does it matter? Because this wasn't just any bridge. It was a complete engineering flex. At the time, most stone bridges were heavy, thick, solid, basically giant piles of rock stacked into arches. They worked, but they were rigid. And rigid structures don't like earthquakes. They don't like floods either. Now imagine you're an engineer in 7th century China. No modern steel, no reinforced concrete, no computer simulations, just stone, gravity, and your brain. You need to cross a river that floods violently. Water levels rise fast. Debris slams into anything in its path. And the region isn't exactly earthquake-free. Most people would build something massive and pray. Li Chun did something different. Instead of building a thick, solid arch, he created what we now call an open-spandrel arch design. That sounds technical, but let me break it down like we're standing there looking at it. Picture a normal stone arch bridge. The big curved arch is underneath, and above it is just solid stone filling the space all the way up to the road. Heavy, dense, immovable. Now picture removing most of that extra stone. On the Zhaozhou Bridge, the main arch supports the roadway, but the space above the arch isn't packed solid. It's partially open. There are smaller arches carved into the structure above the main arch. It's like the bridge has windows inside its own body, and that changes everything. First, weight. By carving out those smaller arches, Li Chun dramatically reduced the amount of stone used. Less mass means less downward force, less stress on the foundation. And during an earthquake, less mass means less violent shaking force. That's genius move number one. But it gets better. Those smaller arches aren't just for weight reduction. They also allow floodwater to pass through. When the river swells, water doesn't just slam into a giant wall of stone. It flows through the openings. The pressure is reduced. The force is distributed. Instead of fighting nature head-on, the bridge works with it. That's genius move number two. Now let's talk about the main arch itself. The Zhaozhou Bridge was one of the earliest large segmental stone arches ever built. That means the arch isn't a perfect half circle. It's flatter. A flatter arch means the roadway is less steep, which makes it easier for carts, animals, and people to cross. But structurally, it also spreads weight more horizontally into the abutments on either side. So instead of pushing straight down, the forces travel outward along the curve of the arch and into the ground. Stone is incredibly strong in compression. It hates being pulled apart, but it loves being squeezed. And this design squeezes every stone block into its neighbor. It's basically self-locking. And here's the part that really blows my mind. This bridge has survived at least 10 major floods and multiple significant earthquakes over the centuries. Think about that. Modern buildings with steel reinforcements sometimes fail under seismic stress. And this 7th century stone structure is still out here doing its job. Why? Because flexibility doesn't always mean bending. Sometimes flexibility means intelligent distribution of force. The open-spandrel design reduces mass. The segmental arch spreads compression. The cut-water piers reduce hydraulic impact. And the materials, carefully fitted limestone blocks, interlock with precision. No iron clamps holding it together, just geometry and patience. But here's why it mattered beyond just surviving nature. The Zhaozhou Bridge wasn't a random rural crossing. It was built on a major transportation route. Trade, military movement, communication, everything flowed across that river. If the bridge failed, the region suffered. So building something durable wasn't just impressive, it was strategic. This bridge connected communities. It strengthened economic flow. It demonstrated imperial power. It showed that the state could tame nature with intelligence, not just brute force. And word spread. The techniques used here influenced later Chinese bridge construction for centuries. Engineers studied its design. They replicated the open-spandrel concept. They refined arch mechanics. In a way, this bridge became a textbook, carved in stone. Now fast forward through history. Dynasties fall, the Tang rises, then Song, then Yuan, then Ming, then Qing, then modern China. Armies march across it, merchants cross it, farmers push carts over it. Children probably ran across it laughing 800 years ago. And through all that, the structure holds. Sure, it's been repaired, maintained, reinforced carefully over time. But the original core, still there. That's not luck, that's design. And I think what makes this story so powerful is that it completely destroys the myth that ancient engineers were primitive. They didn't have modern software, but they had deep observational knowledge. They studied rivers. They understood stone behavior. They recognized patterns in structural failure. They experimented. And when something worked, they refined it. Li Chun wasn't guessing. He was calculating, with experience instead of equations. And here's something wild. When modern engineers studied the bridge, they realized that its stress distribution and structural logic aligned closely with principles we formalized centuries later. In other words, he was right. Without finite element analysis, without seismic modeling software, without steel rebar, just insight. If you stand on the Zhaozhou Bridge today, it doesn't look dramatic. It's elegant, low, quiet, almost humble. But that's the point. True engineering genius often looks simple because complexity has been solved and hidden. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The strongest structures aren't always the biggest. They're the smartest. The Zhaozhou Bridge survived earthquakes not because it was invincible, but because it was balanced. It survived floods not because it resisted water, but because it allowed water to move. It survived centuries not because it was rebuilt over and over, but because it was designed to endure. So the next time someone says ancient technology was primitive, remember the stone bridge in Hebei that outlived empires. Remember the engineer who carved weight out of stone to make it stronger. Remember that 1,400 years ago, someone looked at a violent river and thought, I can outthink this. And that's why ancient engineers were built different.